Have nutritionist Jayda Siggers here, who's going to talk about foods that help boost your metabolism. So thanks so much for being on the program this morning. Maybe just give us a little bit about your background.
My background is I have a PhD in clinical nutrition. So I work in private practice and I help people try to figure out what diet works best for them. So always advocating for as many whole foods as you can get and be the healthiest you possibly can be.
Love it. So you brought some stuff here this morning and you're going to kind of explain them for us. Maybe start with here. You were saying this is the protein section.
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't want to transport meat with me this morning due to the heat. So I mean, of course, lean meats are another option too, but high protein foods from a metabolic point of view. When we talk about metabolism, we talk about thermogenesis. So when we eat food, that food is converted to heat within our body that can be measured. So that's how you burn calories into energy. Okay, so high protein foods have a more thermogenic effect. Therefore, you burn more.
While
it takes more energy to utilize that particular nutrient. So I brought two examples here of high protein foods that were easy to transport. So chickpeas and red lentils, two of my favorites. The great thing about this too is they also have quite a bit of fiber in them. And fiber is really important for metabolism as well.
Now in terms of meat, is there a type of meat that we should stick to, like chicken or red meat or I guess fish isn't really meat, but anything like that, or what do you recommend?
I would recommend a variety. So I mean, diversify your protein source. Do a little bit of plant-based proteins, some red meat, some lean meat, some fish, and diversify. Try to get a little bit in, on a weekly basis. Depending on what type of dietary philosophy you want to find. But having one source that you go to all the time, that's where you're going to limit yourself and limit your nutrients.
So don't always stick to chicken, kind of mix it up a little bit.
Right, mix it up a little bit.
All right, green tea, that's one that I love.
Yes, green tea. There's been a lot of research done on green tea, and it does have a few different compounds in them. A little bit of caffeine, which does boost your metabolism, as well as catechins, which also boost metabolism. So when we're talking about specific nutrients, specific food products like green tea, I mean, you have to drink a boatload to get a huge effect, obviously, right? So, but little bits of everything have a cumulative effect. So over time, it will be helpful, but relying on any one of these foods for a big metabolic boost is going to be counterproductive.
So what about something like a capsule? Could that be an option as well, or is it better in the tea form?
For safety reasons, I would go for the tea form. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of some of those supplements.
Okay, perfect. And moving on, we have some greens here. Maybe tell us what this is. Is this kale?
This is kale.
Okay. And this one here beside it is
a rainbow Swiss chard. Both picked from my garden this morning.
Love it.
I just wanted to highlight high fiber foods as well. Fiber is really important for gastrointestinal health. And there's been some really interesting research done over the last probably 10 years or so looking at microflora in the body, and those people that have lower metabolic rates, so maybe tend to be a little bit more heavier as far as weight, have a different microbiology than people of normal or healthy weight. And so it's really important to support that intestinal flora using high fiber foods in a whole food.
So fiber will help kind of boost that up a little bit,
will help support the right microorganisms that you want in there and the right diversity and an optimal culture. So high fiber foods are going to support that. And most Canadians only eat about half the fiber that you recommend in a day.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's important to get those greens in there. And you were saying raw or cooked, it's good to mix it up, so it doesn't really matter which way you use it.
Yeah, there's benefits to both. So I think mixing them up is always a good choice.
Got to get through this year. Water, obviously,
water,
very important.
Of course, especially right now. It's so hot out. But if you're even a little bit dehydrated, your metabolic rate's going to go down. So it's really important to keep very hydrated all the time.
That's one thing I have to know. And just quickly, cayenne pepper or chili pepper?
Yep, chili pepper, again, another really interesting food. You can do whole food form or the spice, but has a very metabolic boosting properties, lots of research done on it. But again, you can't eat tons of it, so you can't rely on it, but a little bit here and there.
And coconut oil.
Coconut
oil. Last but not least.
Last but not least, there's been some more recent research on it and thoughts that it has a very metabolic boosting effect as well, and also a very healthy source of fat. So I highly recommend it.
All right, we got to go to commercial break, but for more information, people can head to your website. I think it's at the bottom of the screen, eatwholebevital.com, and of course, you have a blog there with all this information.